there's one thing that the big-time successful entrepreneurs and major companies do and continue to do this day that budding entrepreneurs struggle with, and that's starting messy. So today we're going to break it down. We're going to talk about what starting messy actually means and why it's the smartest move, how to get over the fear of judgment and start creating and selling now, and the practical steps to take today so that you stop overthinking and start doing. So if you've been holding back because you think you're not ready yet, this is your wake-up call. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's talk about what starting messy actually means. Starting messy means getting started without all of the details. Listen, I know this is really hard because I'm a planner and I struggle with this today. It took me so long to even just get this video started, knowing that I wasn't going to have all of these years of editing experience for my videos, and filming is still relatively new to me. But I'm starting messy anyways. I'm literally doing this now, and you can do this too. Listen, systems work, and they're going to help you deliver things faster, but you're not going to be able to refine your systems unless you start messy. Starting messy, what is going to get you the success that you're looking for? It's the reps. You've got to get your reps in. Big companies sell before they build, okay? Let's think about it. Software companies launch beta versions. Fashion brands take pre-orders. Startups pitch investors before they even have a product. And I personally know a CEO of a company who's earning millions in sales based off a prototype. That's right, a prototype. It's not even fully functional. Every successful entrepreneur starts messy. Apple started in a garage. Quicken started in a dining room table. Amazon was a tiny online bookstore. If you go back to all of those YouTubers that you're watching right now, watch their first videos. You can see how messy and low quality or how off they are. They're so different from what they're doing because they're learning on the fly. Experience comes from doing, not from researching, watching videos, or reading books. If you have fallen into the spiral of watching video after video to learn a new skill set, or research how something is done so that you can learn it to be professional, it's procrastination. There's a point when you have to draw that line. Starting messy means having a clear idea of what it is that you want to deliver and a conceptual idea of how we are going to do it. So we have to stop waiting until we feel ready, and we need to start doing this. So if we have big corporations that are doing this, and we have successful entrepreneurs that are doing this, why is it so hard for budding entrepreneurs to start messy? And I've got some ideas here around this, and I want to share this with you because I think if you can understand a little bit about what's holding you back on starting messy, you're going to be able to start messy today. There are some strong pros to this. One of the biggest reasons why you should start messy, something that we crave in videos today, especially with the AI boom, is authenticity. And when you are starting messy, there is no greater level of authenticity than truly showing up as your human self with all of your flaws. I am showing up as my human self with all of my flaws. I am kicking off this video after having not done YouTube for quite a while. I am trying new recording methods that I've never done before, and so I have no idea how these are going to turn out. But I'm getting my reps in, and I'll continue to learn from those reps. That messiness makes me human. My flaws make me human. My stumbling over my words is what makes me human. And I think when you start messy and you're able to be authentic and showing those flaws, that is what's going to really draw people in, because you are not an AI robot. You are a human being. Our goal is to build human connections, and our business is built up relationships. You need those customers, you need those clients, and those are built through relationships. And when you show up as your authentic self, having those relationships, that's what's going to drive that business forward. And so that's another reason why I think starting messy is so critical. I think one of the hardest reasons that it is for us to start messy is because we fear judgment. We fear being critiqued and criticized. The other thing too is we want to show up as this perfectly polished business with how everything is just said, because we're comparing ourselves to entrepreneurs and major corporations who've been doing this for years, when the reality is we're just getting started. And when they just got started, they were sloppy and messy too, but they got their reps in. If we compare ourselves to people who have already got their reps in, it's an unfair comparison. And that means that we're putting a lot of pressure on ourselves. And now we have this fear of not looking professional enough. And so it will never be good enough. And that's just not okay, because you're never going to get good at something you don't do. And so it's really important for us to start messy and get our reps in. Another thing is that we fear people watching our videos and assuming that just because our videos or our content or say our Instagram posts aren't perfectly polished and perfectly well written to get all of those thousands of views, that people will judge the professionality of our business. And I just want to call out how crazy that is. Let's say you're a CPA and you have over 15 years of experience. You're kicking off your channel to teach people how to use a particular software, but you're so worried about launching that channel because you're afraid that your clients, your potential clients, are going to judge you because the quality of the video is not going to be like super professional because you just can't pay for an editor. You're just a budding entrepreneur. What you're saying at that point is that your inability to create a professional YouTube video, like a completely polished professional YouTube video, because you're just getting started, means you can't do books. There's a complete disconnect here, right? So when we get really fearful around starting messy, I think one of the things that we have to remind ourselves is that just because I can't do A doesn't mean I can't do or I'm not very good at B, right? When you are thinking about how you're presenting your content, we just need to get our reps in. The more you get your reps in, the more dirty you get your hands in doing those reps, the more you're going to learn. We've dove a lot into starting messy and why it's so important and how starting messy actually reflects our authenticity as human beings. But I want to dive into like how to start messy and still be successful. And I'm going to share this based off not just my own research and the thousands of dollars that I've paid for all of these courses to teach me this, but also what major companies are doing today. The first thing that you want to do is get super clear on your offer, even if it's not perfect yet. You don't need a perfect plan. What you need is a very clear idea of what you're selling. Understand what you're selling, understand who you're selling it to, and understand what that outcome is. If you get that offer part nailed down, then you just need a rough idea of how you're going to deliver it. Because the reality is without clients, you're not going to be able to come up with a full delivery plan that's going to deliver at the quality that you're aiming for. And as long as you're transparent with your clients and you're clear in that communication, you will be amazed at how many people are very forgiving. As long as they're getting what they paid for and you are solving the problem that you promised to solve with that offer. So have a clear offer and have a conceptual idea of how you're going to deliver this. One of the examples that we have is like a bookkeeper starting the firm. They don't need a polished onboarding system. They just need to know they can provide the bookkeeping services. As they get their clients, they're going to pick up clients. They're going to start with emails, and then they're going to start thinking, oh, I can actually have these emails automated, and then I can schedule these calls to have these things surfaced up. But that process is going to flush out as they start getting clients, and as they continue to get more clients, then that process will flesh out more. So have a clear idea on exactly what it is you're offering, but have a conceptual idea on how you're going to deliver it. The next thing that you can do to nail out the success is shift your mindset. Messy is progress. Perfection isn't the goal, okay? Momentum is. And if we sit around waiting for ourselves to suddenly be perfect on something we've never done before, how unrealistic is that? And not only is that unfair to us, but think about all the clients that you're trying to solve those pain points. We can't solve problems if they don't even know that we can solve the problem. Shifting your mindset, messy is perfection isn't the goal, momentum is. You have to ask yourself, like, what are you actually afraid of? And I think sitting down to journal out and actually identify those blocks that are stopping you from moving forward gives you enough insight that you can consider how to address that. So what is stopping you from starting messy? Is it the fear of judgment or the desire to appear authoritative? I think it's really important to recognize like the fears that we have are often unfounded. We create stories in our head every single day. So if I'm in my head saying, oh, people are going to judge me and they're not going to want to buy from me because I can't afford a professional editor, I've already created this story that's going to be a block. But look at all these people who are building all of this stuff from scratch, and they're doing it messy and doing it sloppy, and then they're just getting better and better. And then bam, things just pop off and they're doing really well. Yes, it takes time, but if you don't have that momentum, you're never going to get started. And if you don't get started, you're not going to be where you want to be. And so I just want to take one moment here to talk a little bit about vulnerability and authenticity. Starting messy absolutely does require vulnerability because it does mean that we are showing our imperfection side. And we're showing a lot of imperfection in the beginning when we're first starting on something, rather than when we're much more experienced later on and have put more work into it. So if think about like when you just start a brand new job, right? You just got hired for a brand new job. Yeah, you have the skill sets and you have an idea of how things need to be delivered. But if you don't know all of the processes and all of the pieces at play or how to interact with all of these people, when you first start, even though you are really going to be good at it and you have the skill set and you're a very strong candidate, it doesn't mean that you're going to just kick off really well. It takes about 6 months on average for people to actually get their bearings in a new job. We're learning the company, we're learning the values, we're learning the communication techniques, we're learning about the systems. But then 6 months in, all of a sudden, you're just like, bam, you got this. And so it does require vulnerability to start messy. We fear judgment, but I remind myself to not let that fear get in the way because I don't believe fear should hold us back from our dreams. Fear tends to be the number one thing that holds everybody back from our dreams and our capabilities to excel in the best way that we want, or to even show up as the most highest version of whatever it is that we're trying to build for ourselves. Fear of judgment is hard. It's a hard thing to face. And if this is something that you get stuck on, where it's really just difficult for you and you're thinking in your head, oh my God, I'm so terrified people are going to say this and that about me. The best thing I would suggest for you is Mel Robbins recently released a book called The Let Them Theory. And I really think this book is a really good way to shift some of that mindset, to let go of some of those fears of judgment so that you're not being blocked by these fears from reaching your success and your potential, which you deserve. Tony Robbins has a bunch of great stuff, and so does Brendan Burchard. I'm big on life coaches. But if I'm afraid to show up, it's not fair to my clients who need me. Right? And so it's really important for me to show up as my authentic self, as messy as I am, and just let go of that fear of judgment. People are going to look at this video and they're going to be like, oh my God, this girl, I don't even know what she's doing. Oh, her video editing is horrible. Oh, I can't believe her music was too loud. The clothes that she's wearing, or oh my God, what's wrong with her face? I don't know. God, people can say whatever they want to say, right? People are going to say what they're going to say. They're going to show up how they're going to show up. They're going to do what they're going to do. Let them do that. And that's, as Mel Robbins would say, let them do that. But let me continue to show up and put my reps in and trust the process that if I continue to put my reps in, I'm just going to get better and better. Authenticity not only empowers us, but it also gives permission for others to do the same. When we can show up messy and we are showing up as our authentic, messy, just getting started selves, we are empowering other entrepreneurs or other individuals to be able to start their goals, their dreams, and their ambitions messy too. If your favorite YouTuber, your favorite company, your favorite brand did not start messy, it wouldn't exist today. And because they saw other people doing it, they got brave and then they decided to do it. And that is really important for us to help build a culture while starting messy, especially for entrepreneurs and individuals who are just trying to achieve their dreams. Maybe you're not an entrepreneur watching this. Maybe you're just somebody who's trying to do their own thing and you don't know what to do. The other thing I think is really important for us to anchor in that starting messy, doing what we're doing, even in just your day-to-day stuff, it's not about meeting others' expectations, but this is really about showing up as the best version of ourselves. So even if we're not perfect in the beginning of whatever it is that we're trying to do, if we truly put the effort in to show up as the best versions of ourselves and push through that process and get our reps in, that's really what's going to kick off this whole thing. So the last pieces I want to talk about here is really just trusting the journey, okay? This, I believe, is a fundamental thing that's really served me well in so many capacities, especially when things have gotten really rough for me and I have not had the blessed growing up. Like, I've worked for everything that I have today, but it's been hard and there's been struggles and there's always a challenge, right? And I think for me, what really helps me is leaning into the journey and really trusting that journey. Like, I personally believe that the universe has my back, even when it doesn't look like it. Like, many of the hardest events I've ever gone through in my life had led me to some of the best outcomes. So I think if you have faith in whatever higher power you can, or maybe it's just the universe, or maybe it's just the process, you consistently show up with the same goal and you'll find your path. You follow that journey, you're going to get to the destination, right? Maybe I don't follow the exact trail all the time and I get a little off trail and I get back on trail when I'm trying to hike to a destination. But if I trust that I'm going to get back on trail and I do, I know I'm going to end at the destination. I'm heading north. I'm heading to the peak. It's that way. Maybe I took this little side route. Maybe I took this up a little trail. But if I keep going and I trust the journey, I trust the process, I'm going to end at the mountain peak. Here's the challenge that I have for you. Do one thing that feels messy. Film that piece of content. Write that newsletter. Film the YouTube channel. Do the podcast. Reach out to somebody that you've been wanting to network with. Just step up and do that one messy thing. And then I would love for you to tell me how it goes for you. And how did this help you? Does this help motivate you to start your process too? Are you able to step up and unblock yourself? Can you show up messy so that you can make those reps so that you can get to where you want to be? I'd love to hear in the comments how this video resonated with you or how this video has helped you.